I'd like to welcome you to Friday, as we getting close to Holy Week. Palm Sunday is a week from Sunday, and Holy Week is a interesting spiritual journey. So my words today are this: take time to dream. It is hitching your wagon to a star. And take time to think. It is the source of power. I choose those words not so much because of the words, but because of the guy who gave them to me. I'm sure you, and as I do, have people in your life, I call them passersby, people that you see once in a while, people that you run into. They're not necessarily best friends or really close friends, but they're just someone that's in your journey, and yet you think of them and they teach you a little bit about life. I remember this guy. He, for years, I saw him at the health club, and he would always ask me when I saw him. He said, "Well, Reverend, how are the collections today?" And I said, "Well, probably not as good as they were in your church." And he would laugh, and he was very staunch with his religion, very committed, to his church. And then one day, he came with some friends to a Thursday night worship service. It was outside, kind of sat in the back row. And I just said, "Well, it's nice to have you come to the church. And my bucket list is that someday you'll come on a Sunday." And he said, "That'll never happen." So, and a while later, he popped in on a Sunday. And then lately has been kind of coming every Sunday, and even starts to drop by during the week. One day he dropped by, he said, "I noticed you're out of creamer," so he brought some coffee creamer. "I noticed you were out of decaf coffee," and he brought some decaf coffee. And then the other day he comes in and he gives me this poem, which the words are from, about dreaming. And he said, "I saw this and I thought of your church." And I realized that Bob is, at least spiritually, he was kind of lost. And maybe he would go to church all the time, but somehow the message of the church wasn't coming alive. And he came with some good friends, and just gradually, I think, was a little bit lost. And maybe just because of the openness of people like you, he found something that he could hold on to. And that's what I want about our church. I want people to be able to walk in the door and feel the message of acceptance and goodness. And it reminded me of a couple I met last night at Thursday night worship, which is, God, I love Thursday night worship. And it's a young man who is in his 30s now, and he grew up here, and he had a young lady with him. And it was kind of fun to see them. And afterwards, they came up and I said, "By the way, are you here together because you want to get married?" And he said, "How did you know?" And I said, "Well," and we sat down after church and talked. And she was so worried about getting married at the church. I mean, she told me, she said, "Well, we have some issues in the family, and there's a lot of diversity and a lot of back and forth. And so I came here tonight and with my fiance and his mom." And she said, "Now I know that I want to get married here because you talked about what I needed to hear." Because last night we talked about acceptance and unconditional love and the power of diversity and people coming together. And I guess it's those moments like that that make me realize how lucky I am to be the pastor of people like you, because there's a spirit of openness to the variety of people that come through the door. I don't know, whatever your walk of life is, whatever you do for a living, wherever your journey leads you, I'm not sure if your dreams have changed. I know when I was younger and I came here, my dream was that at some day that this little church, All Saints, would be a big church. That there'd be people lined up out the door to get here. Because every time in seminary or a seminar, we had people speak to us, and they were always people from big churches. They started small and they got big, and the dreams were always about how many and how much, and things have changed, at least they have for me, because a little over 2 years ago, we almost had to close down, right? And I've learned in the past couple of years something I should have learned many, many years ago. My dreams are different now. Maybe a little smaller, maybe a little more spiritual. I dream that the door will always be open and the people that come through will feel accepted. I dream that people who might be a little bit lost can walk through the door and feel like maybe they've been found by a group of people that really care. I dream that people will understand, like you do, that the church, when you walk out the door after worshiping here, that's when the church really begins, because you are the church. The way that you work and play and love and accept. And that religion is not about the name on the sign. Religion is about your heart. It's about your soul. It's about a guy who walked in here and brought creamer because he saw we were out. It's about a lady who wanted to be in a church where the diversity of her family would be welcome. Yes, dreams are different now. Maybe a little humbler, a little smaller, a little more ordinary, and yet laced with the majestic spirit of a higher power who loves us. In closing, a couple people I'd like you to pray for. Tom and Nancy Ellis and their son Josh. He's in his mid-40s, living with a rare form in the muscular dystrophy family, and he's about to transition. Would you pray for him and his parents? And there's a lady who works here. Many of you know her. Her name is Debbie. And she and Alan are on their way to Wisconsin because her parents are deep in dementia and they still have this house and something's got to be done. And it's hard to care for your loved ones from a distance, and yet, boy, they are doing that. And so as Debbie and Alan drive to Wisconsin to try to put things together for her parents, pray for them too. It's those prayers and the journey that we all share. That's what makes the church the church. It keeps us together. And of course, prayers too for Ukraine, our brothers and sisters there. Look forward to seeing you Sunday. Thanks for listening to my ramblings, and have a blessed day.